Hi, everybody in podcast land and also on YouTube. I'm David.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Madison.
What?
And this is the Carpool Critics Podcast, where today we're going to talk about 2021's The Suicide Squad.
With the in front of it.
And somehow the makes all the difference.
It does.
And we have special guest Madison with us today.
Hi.
Madison, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
How do you feel?
I am a little bit nervous,
Yeah?
but I'm very excited.
I really like your Harley Quinn little heart.
Thank you.
Should have put damage, though.
Thematic.
I guess that's Joker.
I dressed up also.
Yeah, I was considering getting
Wait,
that.
and then I also have my little rat friend.
Oh,
Can I put him
Ratcatcher
on my-
2.
Can I put him on?
Could you guys believe that Ratcatcher 1 was Taika Waititi?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
get
we'll
there.
get
We'll
into
get
that.
there. If you're part of our convoy,
What are we doing next week? Do we even know?
we will tell you right now.
Free guy.
Oh, man, I can't wait to
Cover
talk about that
Free
movie.
guy.
Wow, it's going to be so good.
But today it's all about
But-
Suicide
so,
Squad.
David, what did you think about Suicide Squad? Thank you, David.
We're really having a hard time without James here.
I know we're last. They started at the bottom. Now the whole team fucking here.
What?
The Suicide Squad is the first time a DCEU movie is just plain better in basically every way than its Marvel counterpart.
Whoa.
8 out of 10.
Whoa.
What is its Marvel
Yeah, what's the
counterpart?
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, you have to say 2.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better than 1, but it's definitely better than 2.
Oh, man.
And this, I enjoyed this. I knew I was gonna like it. I knew there was enough pieces here that I'm like, this is something I'm gonna like.
Yeah.
But I laughed. I cared. I felt. I was very into this.
Oh, man. Okay.
Riley.
I know. I mean,
Riley,
Here
Riley.
I'm
Here we
changing
go,
my
okay.
score.
So like I feel like I would have written a different slogan. I wrote this like in the moment, but this was my feeling right after seeing it, okay? What the hell, DC? How are we supposed to break the Disney monopoly on pop culture with this? Why is this so hard? I'm giving it a 6 out of 10.
That's not that bad.
But yeah, because like it is enjoyable, but I feel like I just had a hard time with it. Like,
Yeah.
it's the two words that I think I would describe it most as are cringe and extra, which can be real fun sometimes, and there is fun in
Yeah.
it. There's lots of fun. There's lots
Certainly
of fun in humor.
extra. Certainly
But
extra.
cringe and extra. Madison, what about yourself?
Based AF.
I'm reading my notes off my phone. I'm not being rude.
Yeah,
I
don't
promise.
don't be mad.
The Suicide Squad wanted to be a gory comedy, but it felt like a horror movie. It kept me interested, but also drove me to feeling ill in my seat. Also, they killed so many birds, so I'm forced to give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Fair enough. They do
Right?
kill. That's like the first thing that happens in this movie.
I felt bad. In the movie
Yeah.
theater, I whipped my phone out, and I was like,
No.
I wrote, there's a bird in the first 2
Yeah.
minutes. 10 out of 10.
But then, okay, so to me, I really like what that promises in tone because, like, at first you're like, whoa, it's gonna be really dark. This dude just like whipped a ball at a bird and killed it. But within the first 10 minutes, that bird is eating that guy.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of movie this is, where it's dark and twisted, but like the good guy wins.
It's
the bird
definitely-
gets
But it was a
gets
different
it.
bird.
It's
Yo,
true.
but
And then the bird
but all birds
choked
are
on
the
his
same.
corpse.
There's only one soul for
It didn't
birds.
choke.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't
No.
die.
No, it was fine.
It swallowed
Oh, was it? Oh.
It was just- that's just
how
how-
birds eat. Never mind.
I
I wrote
forgot
down
how birds eat. And speaking of how people eat, it's time to talk about our sponsors.
Oh, so we can eat.
Yeah, we're brought to you by Private Internet Access VPN. They let you hide your IP address so you can bypass geo restrictions and censorship. You can connect up to 10 devices at once, and it includes an internet kill switch. Gunshots, lots of things. If your VPN gets disconnected involuntarily, PIA is available for Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and even as a goddamn Chrome extension, so check it out at lmg.gg/carpoolpia. We're also supported by Manscaped and their Performance Package Kit. It comes with a ton of stuff, including the Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks and cuts. It also has their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Ball. The Weed Whacker nose trimmer, and they have an ear trimmer too. Some people need those.
I do.
And the Shears 2.0 luxury nail kit. Nails are technically hair too, I think.
It's the same. It's like
They're
the
made
same
of keratin.
keratin.
There you go.
So if you eat carrots, you don't get nails.
Exactly. Head to manscaped.com/carpool20 today and get 20% off plus free international shipping along with the Shed travel bag, which I hear is really, really nice.
I just used it for
You
travel.
and James have one, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
great.
think I have one.
I know I need a lawnmower. I still have my 3.0. I want a 4.0.
When are they going to give
Gotta
me a ball
upgrade.
shaver?
I'm sure if you asked for one, they would give it to you. You know what the kill switch would have been?
What?
I'll kill any amount of women, children, men for internet privacy.
Jeez Louise. I thought that was going to be... for liberty.
For liberty, but
Yeah.
for internet privacy.
Great. He was an interesting addition, John Cena.
John Cena's like my chosen father
John
that
Cena
I'll
was
never...
in this movie? I couldn't see him.
Wait, was that a joke?
That's a joke. That's like the meme is you can't see
Can't see
me.
Oh.
Okay.
It was wrestling? Is that a wrestling?
Yeah.
I'm guessing so.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about wrestling.
I mean,
I don't either. I only know
We-
memes. It's a meme.
we can go through this whole...
Madison knows a lot of pop culture references that other people know because they saw the movie. Madison just saw the meme.
Yeah.
Exactly. Honestly, that's all I need to know the context of like
Sonic, that's that like bad cartoon drawing of a blue guy, right?
I mean, Idris Elba's now going to be Knuckles. Seems like an interesting choice.
Idris Elba's just everything.
So
and
handsome.
everything. He's like,
The
"I need
tangents
cats."
the tangents are starting early. I'm gonna get us back on track by
Synopsis. Do it,
doing the
Riley.
synopsis. Here's what happens. So when the island nation of Corto Maltese is taken over by an anti-American regime, Amanda Waller sends 2 teams of captured supervillains to destroy Jotunheim, a lab holding the secretive experiment known as Project Starfish. Team 1 is immediately slaughtered, with Rick Flag and Harley Quinn as the only survivors. But Team 2, composed of Bloodsport, Peacemaker, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, and Ratcatcher 2, enters the country undetected. They find Flag at a rebel camp after mistakenly slaughtering most of the freedom fighters. The squad then captures the Thinker, a scientist in charge of Project Starfish, and are later joined by Quinn after she escapes from the Corto Maltese government, which plans to use Project Starfish against other nations. Breaking into Jotunheim using the Thinker, the squad rigs the facility with explosives while Flag and Ratcatcher enter the underground lab, discovering a giant alien starfish called Starro that can take control of humans with tiny copies of itself. The Thinker reveals that America has secretly been funding his experiments using Corto Maltese citizens as test subjects. Flag takes a hard drive with this information, but before he can give it to the press, he's killed by Peacemaker, carrying out secret orders from Waller to cover up America's involvement. Ratcatcher grabs the drive and tries to flee, but before Peacemaker can kill her, Bloodsport shoots him and takes the drive. With the explosives going off, Starro escapes the destroyed laboratory, kills the Thinker and much of the military, and begins taking control of the island's population. Bloodsport ignores Waller's orders to retreat and leads his team into battle with Starro, but before Waller can execute the squad remotely, she's knocked out by her subordinates. Polka Dot Man is killed, and Harley pierces a hole in Starro's giant eye, allowing Ratcatcher to send a horde of rats to chew Starro to death from the inside. Using the drive as leverage, Bloodsport then forces Waller to release him and his teammates. Wow. It was a ride. And did you stay for the end credits?
I did.
Yeah?
I watched it at home, so.
It didn't really... Well, the first one's good.
There
Is
were
that the
end
John Cena
credits?
one
So
being back?
there's 2 sort of mid-credits. There's
Yep.
a mid-credits and then a post-credits. And the mid-credits one is they show that Weasel, which
Yes.
which I didn't even get to
Yes.
mention
I
in
love
the synopsis,
him.
but I was like, I'm so disappointed.
That he was alive?
That he wasn't more in the movie.
Oh, I know.
It's so
He
funny.
was
So
ugly.
funny.
I was so relieved when he got killed in the
What?
first.
Really? Oh, I
I
thought
was
he was
like,
so
thank
funny.
goodness I don't have to look at that thing anymore.
I agree. I think if you had too much of him, it would definitely be overbearing. But it's just the right amount that I want more of him.
Yeah.
What does Flag say? He's like, oh, he's a good guy. I guess he killed 27 children, but
He's a good guy. Yeah,
and he's just like,
I just love. I don't know. I love the
design.
character. He's just like, why is he here? You don't even know
Yeah.
what his powers are. If he has powers, as far as we know,
Yeah.
it looks like he's just literally like maybe a human who got
Yeah.
mutated into a weasel.
well, and he's the first to die. Let's talk about that intro sequence. I think it's incredible.
yeah.
It is there's something so special that they invested so much time and money into the like trailers of these characters. Like Javelin Man is in the trailer and he's
Right.
like, oh, I really feel like I have a great character. And
Flula,
yeah.
Flula Borg.
Yeah, and same with like Pete Davidson's like talking about his great, like his depth and like, oh, we really got to do justice to
Oh,
us.
did they do that?
Yeah, they had a trailer. It was like the
I-
character trailer. And then they fucking killed him
That's
in the
so
first
funny.
10
I didn't even
minutes.
see any of that
Oh
stuff.
my
Did you
God.
like that?
I loved
Okay,
it.
because I have the opposite.
Okay,
opinion.
tell me about
I
it.
hated it.
You hate that they died early?
Yeah, I was like, what was the point of like building up these characters and also bringing back some characters from the previous movie
Like
and
Captain
being
Boomerang.
like, we're continuing this story. This is our cinematic universe, and then killing them in the first 5 minutes. I'm
Well,
like,
It's setting the tone, I
there's
think.
definitely a meta conversation here, or like a meta environment in which this is taking place, which is that like everyone knows the first Suicide movie was kind of shit.
Yeah.
So like they know going in that has that reputation. So I think bringing back the characters and then like killing half of them is kind of a way to acknowledge that, hey, we know that you weren't super attached to these people. I mean, like
Captain
Rick Flag
Boomer.
survives, I guess, and Harley Quinn obviously has to survive.
But then why put them in the trailers and stuff if you're like, hey, we know people don't like these characters, we're gonna use them in all of our advertising
I think it's
Those are
part of
the
the
new
meta.
characters.
This thing is part of the meta where it to me it fits the idea of like the Suicide Squad, where like if they're setting the expectation for the audience where like people are gonna die.
Yeah.
A lot of people are gonna fucking die.
No
in
one
this
is
movie.
safe, even though I think
because like even within the movie they set up these people and they spend a little bit of time like being like 2DK, what does that stand for? And he's like 2DK, it stands for TDK. Your name's just a bunch of letters. Yeah, our names are a bunch of letters. Like
it's got a really strong opening, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because what?
I also don't understand why. So like Suicide Squad, obviously everyone is technically disposable, that's why it's called the Suicide Squad. But the one guy who was leaving, the marksman man, I don't remember his name.
Marksman Man.
like Michael Rooker with the
Bloodsport?
bad wig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Savant?
like, Savant. He's like leaving, trying not to die, and then he just gets exploded.
Well, it's
that's
because
the thing.
they're setting it up because like
Yeah.
that's if they did leave the mission because that's what they want to do, they just blow them up. They have an explosive.
but I'm
planted.
thinking, how many convicts are there really that they can use for these
Oh,
missions?
they got
If you
lots.
Yeah,
just-
it's a superhero universe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess that makes sense.
I was listening to another podcast that was talking about like DC's roster of heroes, and apparently, they might have been talking about Marvel. I'm not sure, but like both DC and Marvel have like literally thousands of characters
Yeah.
in their like wiki of characters,
Yeah.
and so Suicide Squad is all about these like more minor characters that most people don't really care about, and they're kind of like plucking them out of obscurity and being like, hey, you were like a minor Batman villain in the 60s and no one's heard about you since then, but you got captured and now you're in prison. And so like all of these people have been captured, and so it's like no one cares about them. So they can the threat of death is real.
They
Yeah,
just
I think
pull
that's
them out.
one of the things I really like though is how they treat those characters because like they're not just jokes. Even the ones that die, like they treat them with some kind of respect. Like Polka Dot Man could be a fucking joke, but he's like no, he's like a real dude and he's doing his thing and like he's got issues and he is a joke. But the best joke in the whole movie is that reoccurring joke of his mom being everything he sees.
I don't know if it's the best joke.
It's
in the
not the
movie,
best,
but it's definitely good.
It's a good reoccurring joke.
Yeah.
And the payoff at the end when he sees the starfish as his mom and she's just like smashing.
So that was
good.
the only time that I did laugh at the joke.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
the first few times it shows his mom, like he sees his mom
yeah.
everywhere. I'm just kind of like, oh, okay.
I agree. I think
it's kind of like the woman is sort of like a funny looking actor, so that was like a good casting. What?
Roasted.
Well, I don't know. That's why they casted
Roaster.
her.
Call her out.
And so then at the end, also I didn't give a spoiler alert.
Oh,
But
spoiler alert.
obviously, spoiler alert.
You listened to the podcast before.
At the end, when Starro in his mind is replaced with a big like
That was good.
image of his
So
mom wrecking
funny.
the city and stuff.
To me, that was the punchline of that joke. It
Yeah.
was
Oh,
like
for
building
sure.
up,
For
and then
sure.
I was
For
like,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think the movie does a really good job not undercutting itself too much because I think like that's a complaint of the Marvel movies and certainly the Guardians movies where they undercut the serious moments too much. But this movie, I think, takes itself seriously in the right ways. But that moment when Polka Dot Man's like, I'm a superhero! And then he gets like smashed right away. I was
I'm a
like,
goddamn superhero.
I was like,
I absolutely was not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
really?
I
I feel
loved
like
it.
I saw it coming. And
Yeah.
I'm usually someone who just does not predict things in movies.
I was like, oh my God, this is Polka Dot Man's gonna be in like the next movie or
I
something.
think just the framing of the shot.
You know,
When
Yeah.
it cuts, like he succeeds and then we cut back and we are with Bloodsport in that shot. He's like in the foreground and
Yeah.
Polka Dot's way over in the background. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna get some.
he's gonna
Yeah,
he's
for
gonna
sure.
die.
Although one thing about Polka Dot Man, I think he is one of the best parts of the movie for sure,
It's very funny.
because he's this really obscure hero that no one even has heard of.
No.
But he's weird and he's got a complicated backstory and you don't even know how his powers really work.
yeah, he just gets like these polka dots appearing under his skin that
Yeah.
are glowing. And you're like, what? And then he throws it up and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's kind of cool.
The slow reveal of
Yeah.
information about Polka Dot Man is great, and it's like all those setups have a great payoff in the end. And that to me is one of the big strengths of the movie, that it can take these, lesser known heroes and really make you care about them, because we can watch Harley Quinn as much as we want, and she was
She's
still one of the best parts of the movie.
favorite.
For sure,
She
she's
is the
still
best,
she's
yeah.
still one of the best parts of the movie, and we'll talk about that. But like, I think that if they're going to make more of these, what I would like to see is really taking obscure heroes and giving them actual backstories and giving them character motivations that we care about.
To me, that's when Marvel hit the next level, is when they started doing more of the C-lister characters, because they were doing kind of like B-lister characters that they hadn't done in movies. But once they hit the Guardians of the Galaxy that nobody except really hardcore people knew, that's when there was oh, this is getting really interesting, and we're getting into the weird stuff. And to me, this feels like the first time DC has been all right, we're stepping away from Batman, we're stepping away from Superman, we're doing the weird shit.
I mean, other than the first one.
Yeah, but even then it was Deadshot and Harley Quinn. It was bigger.
These are the same characters. Also,
sort of. Well,
the Joker.
Idris Elba's character was supposed to be Deadshot. He was recast as Deadshot.
Right. I thought I heard that. But then what happened?
But then there was a few different things, and eventually it comes down to they want to have the possibility of bringing back Will Smith. And so they're like, okay, let's make him a different character. And James Gunn was the one that proposed, what's his name, Bloodsport, because he likes the character, and I think it works well. And I think it's...
So there is a DC character called Bloodsport?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I was so confused, because I was like, why? Because I had heard that Idris Elba was cast in this one and Will Smith wasn't going to be in it. But I was like, if you're going to get a different character in there, why just use
almost the same
literally
powers?
The same character, but it's a different person.
I like though that
it's not even that they have the same powers or anything, right? Or the same skill set. It's literally the same character, except he's British.
Yeah, and the daughter.
Deadshot has a daughter. Exactly. That's part of the plot.
100%. I like how they do that in this one. I don't think they deal too long with it, but you get a really good sense of their relationship. Even how you can tell she's crying for help. That's why she's stealing. She wants to have a relationship with her dad. And then when they get angry at each other because he's stay away from me, and she just wants to have a dad. I really felt that in a very short amount of time that they communicate their relationship really effectively. I thought that was a great scene.
I thought it was a great scene, and I really wish that they kind of referenced his relationship with his daughter a bit more in the story, because it felt like he was the protagonist.
For sure.
But
there's one payoff at the end when she sees him on the TV. She's like, "That's my dad."
Yeah, but I just one thing that I was super confused about during this movie was who I'm supposed to really latch on to.
Everyone. Every single person. It's like the first movie. They were like, this movie did a better job of it, but the first movie was like, hey, here's 18 characters. We're going to give you a little piece of backstory and then kill them.
Yeah, I felt like I latched on to the whole squad, and then I felt really betrayed by Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I felt like I was mad at him, even though it was totally within his character to do something that would keep this conspiracy under wraps, because that would keep the peace.
After they showed him in his tidy whities for 3 minutes, I was ready for him to go.
Really?
Get off the screen.
That's
Your
enough.
time is over.
No,
I feel like he had some good banter with Bloodsport a bit in the beginning, when he's like, I'm just better than you. And he's like, how?
I do the same thing, but better.
He's like, my bullets go into your bullet hole. I use smaller
I
bullets.
like that
Go straight through your bullet holes without touching the sides.
I shoot right in the center. I shoot more in the center. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even they had some good ones. I like when they kill, or they're killing all the rebels, and he's like, nobody likes to show off. He's like, except when they're showing off something. What they're showing off is so fucking badass. And I was like, fuck.
He's like, that
was one of the I didn't laugh out loud a ton in the movie. Yeah. I mean, it was a comedy, so I did laugh out loud a number of times, but that was one of the times where I was like, that was good.
That was pretty funny.
He's like, fuck, he's right.
Yeah.
I don't understand the entire scene where, I understand, wait, what is the main evil lady? She's not evil.
Waller?
Yeah, Waller. Yeah. How, did she not know that those people were they had the same goal as them?
Huh?
What do you mean?
Who?
So she says, go in and kill everyone you see, get Flag back.
Yep.
If how did she not have the knowledge that they had the same goal and Flag wasn't actually
Well, she just probably thought they were part of
I don't think Waller knew that.
Yeah.
He was
the
captured
Maltese army.
Oh,
was it Cato Maltese?
Porto Maltese.
So Waller's just stupid.
Well,
yeah. I like how
they've got satellites and stuff. They see a camp, but they don't know that it's the rebels.
But if they have satellites, they can see Flag being shirtless and chilling and drinking tea. So
X-ray satellites.
Yeah. I like how they deal with Wallace better in this movie. Certainly better than the last Waller. Sorry, Amanda Wallace. Shit. Where in the first one she's the head honcho and everyone respects her, and she's just kind of I don't know. Everyone feels in the first one, but in this one I like that she is sort of kind of the same thing. She's very purpose driven, but then when the Suicide Squad decide to be the good guys and be we're gonna save the day, we're gonna face this giant starfish and do it. And she's like, no, fuck you. Like, I'm going to kill you. And then everyone turns on her. I really like that moment. And I think that they just deal with her and use her a lot better within the story. I felt it. I felt that moment.
She's a lot more of like an actual villain in this one, where it's like, oh, okay, so we are rooting for the bad guys now because they're doing what's right and they're just going to be punished for it.
Yeah. I mean, in the first one, it seemed to be that like Waller is a good guy and she's a tough good guy, but we're supposed to be kind of like on her side and rooting for the bad guys to see the good path and go there instead of, and like turn away from their wicked ways. But in this one, it's kind of like, you know, everybody kind of sucks. And Waller is part of the American government who has been doing these bad things because they've been secretly funding this research. And the real reason that she's sending them in is to cover up the Americans, you know, cover up the tracks and to stop their enemies from using the same weapon that America's been trying to use.
And she proves that she's like willing to absolutely go to the ends of the earth.
She goes dark.
This. She's like, I will literally let your daughter rot in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how would you like that?
I mean, I like that about the character because she was been in the comics for a while, and I think, I'm not sure whether she was in the comics first or in the Batman animated series first, but I think that she was introduced in the 90s at some point, and she was always this like badass woman who's like, she's a short woman in a position of authority in the government, and like, and she doesn't seem like she would be super powerful and dangerous, but really she's one of the most dangerous characters you could ever encounter.
But to me, she wasn't badass. She was just annoying.
In this one, it does kind of come off that way.
Especially since I haven't read the comic books or probably like seen the other content she's in. She just aggravated me the entire movie.
Yeah, she didn't really have a power moment.
No, it was like the entire movie. It was like a kid throwing a tantrum. Where she's like, you're not doing exactly what I want the way I want you to. I'm going to blow your fucking brains out.
Oh my God.
It did kind of seem like she was like losing control in that moment as well. And that's kind of against her. She butts heads with Batman a lot in the animated series. And so Batman is supposed to be this like cold, calculating detective genius who's always a step ahead of everybody. And Waller is also that.
Okay.
So like they butt heads a lot, and she represents the government and Batman represents like mercenaries not mercenaries, vigilantes. And so it seemed kind of weird to have her like lose her shit a little bit in that moment, like you say.
Yeah, she's definitely not cool in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
she's badass. Yeah. She's cold, but she's
cool.
Annoying a bit too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
It was like my least favorite part of the movie, I think. Because every time she would come on screen, I'd be like, what is this bitch gonna do now? What dumb thing is she gonna say that annoys me?
What if she's the most... This is the character that I maybe like the most and like less now. I think Rick Flag is the most improved character.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. In the first one, he's so boring. In this one, he has something. There's something to him.
Him and Harley Quinn hug, and I went, she's a friend.
I hate
Joel Kinnaman.
See,
I don't like that actor.
Okay, so I have a little
Riley?
bit. I have a little love in my heart for Joel Kinnaman because I first saw him in The Killing, which is on... it was a show on AMC, like a really slow burn thriller show, and it was really, really good. It was a great show, and he was super, super good in it, especially considering the fact that he's Swedish, and he does such a good American accent.
Yeah, I had no idea.
For some reason, he learned how to do this sort of like lower class American accent, like really, really well. And so I have a little bit of love in my heart, and I always will, for Joel Kinnaman. Yeah. But I hate the character. He's so lame. I'm bored. Every time he's on screen, there's literally nothing he does ever that I'm like, cool or funny. Nothing.
I think there's a little bit more texture to him in this one than there was in the last one. Last one, he was like, his character description was generic army badass guy. Yeah. Whereas in this one, he's kind of got like a more pathetic edge.
Pathetic.
Yeah. And like he like has a whiny voice and it's got like a little bit of southern drawl. Like there's a little bit more to him that I found a little interesting. Like he just wasn't presented as nothing. Yeah, like he has, I don't know, his voice cracks a couple times and I'm like, I like this.
I just like the fact that he's like the dad figure. Because he's there and he's like, these are the kids I'm babysitting right now. Hope none of them die. Yeah. And then he just has to babysit them.
Because James Gunn gave him like, he said, yeah, you have carte blanche to like redefine this character as you want. And so he said he wanted to make him like stranger. He did more than I think you're giving him credit for.
Yeah.
He wanted him to be like strange and more naive and more innocent and like have a better heart. And I think that comes across where he like believes in these people a little bit more instead of being like, oh, I'm tough military guy, all these motherfuckers.
I mean, there is that whole bit in the end where he decides to be good and like go against orders and release this information. But it really just felt like that kind of came out of nowhere because I hadn't
Really?
seen anything that would set that up at all.
I felt like it fit within his character. I was not like heartbroken that he died, but I was sad. Although the sadness was kind of diminished by the heart puncture. I was like, ooh, I don't like this.
Oh yeah, like the CGI
there
graphics.
were
Yeah.
so many times in this movie where I literally just had to go like this.
Yeah, no fair. I think sometimes
away
it
from
works.
the
Like
mic.
I think when Pete Davidson gets his face shot off, I think that's like a good like
That's shocking.
that's shocking, and I
Yeah.
think that's I didn't enjoy it, but I'm like that's a good punctuation to what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But the heart thing did nothing for it. It like totally
sure.
diminished my emotion.
Like I feel like they really they play their cards very early with the Pete Davidson getting his face shot off because I was shocked and I did like feel something in my body.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what the oh God. But I don't really ever feel that for the rest of the movie. And I think it
felt
was
that-
all like spent on that one.
I think that's certainly the biggest shock. I felt a couple times when King Shark is like ripping people apart because like he was CG, but all the gore stuff is like practical. And
Oh,
so
really?
like not all of it, but most of it is like really practical. And
had
they
no
did a
clue.
huge effort in this movie to do as much practical as they can.
Hmm.
And I think that's part of why I like a lot of the sequences. And like we'll talk about the Harley Quinn escape sequence because I fucking love it. But I found some of the shark tearing people apart or eating people I found was kind of shocking in a good way.
Some of that stuff, I feel like,
There's too much of it.
yeah,
That's
I
fair.
didn't-
it's a little cringe.
I was.
It is because it's like
I'm
it's
gonna
one-
need you to look up the definition of cringe.
What do you mean? Like
I
I
don't-
cringe when I see it.
Never mind. I need to look up the definition of cringe.
What I mean when I say cringe is like
You went.
I can
"Ugh."
no
No, it's like edgy.
not
No?
edgy.
I'm
As in like
edgy.
it's okay. Wait, are we actually gonna define cringe
Let's
right now?
define
No, okay.
cringe.
Cringe in the internet sense, I feel, is like really you're doing that. It's
Yeah.
like cliche. It's like over the top. It's like a little extra. It's like you're trying too hard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maybe that's fair because they're. I like the character beats they do with
it
him.
makes you uncomfortable
Yeah, I like what
for
they're-
the other person.
Yeah, I like what they're trying to do with him. I like when they introduce him and he's trying to read a book, but he can't read and it's upside down. I'm like, oh, he just wants to be pure intelligence. And then like he kind of has this vulnerable moment where he's like, I don't have any friends. And like I want friends. And then the rat catcher kind of connects with him.
I do like that.
And I like that side of it. But I guess in terms of the action, they don't really know what to do with him. And like that's what a shark would do is just like chomp on people.
Yeah.
So they keep doing that. That's fair.
I feel like
I just meant overall, like the gore in this movie is over the top. There were.
Yeah. But it should be. To me, like that's what Suicide Squad has to be. It
but
has to be
but
like
I don't remember
cringy,
the first
gory.
one being this gory.
It's not though, but that's what I'm mad at that because it should be like it's like this is a rated R superhero
I feel
movie.
like
it should be
They
violent.
took out the part I liked, which was like the music fitting really well with everything.
oh my
Oh
god,
no,
I
we're gonna
bad.
fight. We're gonna
you
fight.
thought the music was good?
In this one, it's totally fits.
what the fuck?
What? You like the first one when they
You
just
like
No,
the,
I don't
you
remember
like
the first
the
one.
random EDM music over like every scene and like two songs that make sense.
what?
Wait, in this one?
Yeah, there was like
I don't
there was a
think there was
club
much
scene that was
EDM.
I didn't notice
EDM,
the EDM.
and then I just hated the
I feel like
music.
you're using that
There was
genre term improperly.
I think it's not like
call me out, Riley.
I don't think it's as well. First we define
I
cringe.
don't
Let's
remember.
define EDM.
I don't remember any single song from this movie. None of them are memorable.
me
None
neither.
of them were like tied
Not even like the
in.
Johnny Cash.
well, okay, I remember that one. That's the only one.
Nope.
There's a couple like there's the Pixies song.
Don't know who
there's
they
a
are.
couple there's a couple songs that I'm like this is good and it doesn't feel as forced as certainly the last Suicide Squad one where it's
What
like
do you mean
clearly
Forced.
it's just so
See-
clearly inserted after where it's like
I-
it wasn't integrated into the idea like whereas to me
disagree.
James we're not going to talk about it whereas James Gunn had these songs in mind while he was doing it. And James Gunn is known to bring music to set
Yeah.
and so he had like a lot of the score written before or a lot of the songs picked and he would play that on set as they were doing it and so to me especially with that knowledge it feels more tightly integrated than when Warner Brothers literally was like, we have to retool this movie and like make it fun.
Yeah.
But-
whereas David Ayer's like, I want to make a fucking dark movie.
If you
Right.
didn't know that, would you appreciate it?
I think so.
I feel like an important part of this conversation is realizing whether we are comparing this movie primarily to Suicide Squad
Yeah.
1 or Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Because to me, I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, okay, this is James Gunn's first movie again after he worked for Marvel and then got canceled for 10-year-old tweets that were
uncanceled.
jokes. And then he got uncanceled because people were like, oh, they're 10-year-old tweets. It's all right.
Yeah.
And so now he's back.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing this primarily to Guardians of the Galaxy 1 because I'm like, okay, I want to compare this to James Gunn's really good work. Because like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 I still enjoy, but it was obviously much worse.
Yeah.
But Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
I agree.
It's so good. And Suicide Squad is like so bad.
Yeah.
So this is a huge improvement over the first Suicide Squad for sure.
Yeah.
But I think specifically looking at the music and how well integrated thematically the music was to the Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Like he's got his mixtape. It's from his mom. It's a bunch of 70s, 80s stuff.
But it's hard to, because you're right. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 definitely integrates the music way better.
Yeah.
But it's also like there's a lot more time and effort put into it, whereas in this it's just like it's flavor. It's like a Zack Snyder thing where it's like we have a couple songs that like clearly he cares about and wants to feel about.
Are you like a Marvel stan? Have you seen like all the movies?
I feel like I am. I mean, I'm not like a stan.
Not
like,
not like a super stan, but just like you've seen them, you know the characters, you sort of know the universe.
I would say I'm generally, I don't like calling myself a fan, but like
you have a movie podcast where you talk about movies, and you're like, I'm not a fan.
I like a medium, but I do like Marvel and what they've done with the MCU. I usually watch most of the Marvel properties when they put them out.
What about you, Madison? Are you Marvel? Are you a superhero person?
I was gonna wear my Stark Industries sweatshirt, but it was too hot. I bought a $900 Iron Man statue.
Yeah. Whoa!
I was like,
so you're
I'm
a fan.
Adult. Yeah,
I'm like a stan. Next level.
No, I used to be a stan. Now I'm really only into like Spider-Man and Iron Man. But that's mostly just because like Marvel beat a dead horse with a stick. It was like every movie is gonna be exactly the same, where it's funny, but it's not funny, but it's sad.
See, to
but
me,
it's funny.
Wait,
but my question was, so you're a Marvel stan. Are you as much of a DC Universe fan as you are a Marvel fan?
I've had an interesting journey.
Oh gosh.
Madison,
and then I have the same question for you.
I was a huge DC fan. I read the comics. I like ingested heavily every animated series. I was super into DC for basically until the MCU really started to come into its own around like 2013 and 14 when the movies went from being kind of okay superhero movies to like being like, oh, they're doing something good here.
Yeah.
It was 2012.
Sure.
That's the only thing I know. Wait, when Avengers came out.
No, but the first Avengers, I came out of the theater being like, eh.
Oh, really? That was the point.
Okay,
I was like,
well, that was the point where like everyone was like, oh, Marvel's a thing.
I think after Age of Ultron.
Really?
Yeah, was when I really started being like, all right, Marvel, this is good. Because before I was just kind of like, these are dumb superhero movies. Yeah. My friends were super into them. And after seeing the first Avengers movie, I was like, this is literally like those cheap animated movies that they do from 2D animation and they put direct to DVD.
Yeah.
It felt like that, but in a big screen thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sorry.
So anyways, that's where
okay. So then your opinion on Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think the MCU is like a production achievement. I think that.
But are you like, do you care about the character? Are you like?
I care. Oh yeah, I definitely care. And I think that it's one of the most interesting things happening in pop culture. And like it's so unique and everyone's trying to copy it, but no one has that secret sauce that they do. But I am definitely tired of the like normal stuff. I want the weirder stuff. Like I like the like Loki multiverse stuff going into Doctor Strange. Like I want it to shift into the weird stuff, like, and not just the main kind of line superhero stuff. Like I'm not super into Shang-Chi because I'm like I feel like it's just gonna be like mainline superhero stuff. And so that's I think why I like DC stuff, but I've never been super into like the whole thing. It's just like the main characters like Batman or Flash I really like.
I feel like all of DC's attempts at kind of breaking into a universe have just fallen flat on their face, especially compared to Marvel. And so like I've gone from being this like hardcore DC fan to being like I am still a fan of DC characters and the storylines, and I think there's so much there that they could adapt in a good way, but they have just continually failed to do it in any sort of compelling way.
See, I'm sad that you guys don't like this movie because I feel like this is like the move in the right direction where they're just like they've been giving directors the control. Like I mean, like, we got the Joker, and like I don't think I didn't love that movie, but I love that they let Todd Howard, whatever his name is, not Todd Howard, that's Bethesda, but the director of that kind of just do his thing, and it's like it feels like it's got artistic merit because like that's an expression of one person's vision.
Yeah.
And I felt the same with this, where it's not like it doesn't feel like the studio coalescing behind a bunch of ideas that are going to make money, making this like laser pointed thing that's supposed to get people in seats. It felt like this is James Gunn's weird fucking idea of what a superhero movie can be. And I want that.
I completely agree.
And so to me, this feels like it's DC kind of course correcting in the way that I'm like, oh, I could get into this, but I'm sad that you guys don't like it.
I think going back to the MCU versus DCU,
we do like it. 6 out of 10.
You're right.
But continue.
But that's just because it was like entertaining. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think maybe I didn't like it as much because I've never been like Batman. I love Joker. I love Superman. I love Metropolis. So it's like I went into it not knowing any of these characters before, not knowing that they were even minor characters, not really caring at all about the universe they could theoretically be building.
Yeah.
So it's like I went in purely for just entertainment factor.
Yeah.
And like it was entertaining, but also...
But I think maybe that expectation sort of colored your experience of it
because I'm like, I was like, this is the next Marvel thing.
Oh.
Right.
But it's not.
No.
Because Marvel, I knew a bunch of stuff going into the movies. I knew about characters. I had seen like, I'd seen standalone films for the characters that are all coming together to make like the movies that are their version of Suicide Squad.
Fair.
So it's like, it's not really a fair comparison, but it's the only comparison I have.
I guess to me, I just find the characters I know nothing about way more fun than if it's a character I like kind of know the broad strokes of. It's like if they did a Black Canary movie or something, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, but like I kind of know what they're gonna do. I know how she's gonna fit in with characters I know. Whereas, when it's Savant, I've never heard of, and he's Michael Rooker in this disgusting wig. I'm like, where I like movies that take me places I have no idea they're gonna go, and this movie felt like it was constantly giving me surprise. I was constantly on the edge of my seat, like, what's happening? What's going on next? What's going to be? And because these characters, I have no previous investment and I have no expectation of like what they do. I just had no idea what to expect, and I fucking loved that.
I think I'm the opposite, where I was like, oh, I like when they just have one character and they keep going more in depth and in depth and in depth about that character. I'm like, I love knowing the backstory of characters, which I think is why back to the MCU. I just like, because like Iron Man has 3 movies, has Avengers 2, Avengers 3.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so much stuff building up where I'm like, I know all about this character.
Yeah, I think that's
and
definitely...
I'm emotionally connected to this character.
That's the whole strength of the MCU, is that they spent 10 years building up these characters and this universe that we are so invested in. So now anytime they put out a Marvel thing, you're like, I've been following this TV series for 10 years.
I'm like,
so
what is the next chess move? What pieces are they moving?
But I'm with you, David, on this like new character thing where I feel like that's all DC can do now, really. I feel like I am excited for the new Batman movie that's coming out next year with Robert Pattinson.
As long as his parents don't die in an alley in the like movie.
Once
we've
more.
seen that a million times.
They're probably going to have a quick flashback, hopefully just like as quick as possible.
Yeah, like a montage or something.
While I am excited for that, I do think that this probably is the way forward for DC to continue doing these like one-off things.
Yeah.
Like Joker was cringe at parts, but I enjoyed it, and it was like artful.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the way that DC should go. So but that's also a reason why I was kind of disappointed in this movie, because I got really into the new characters they were showing in the plane. I was like, wow, I can't wait to spend some time with these new characters. Flula seems funny.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson is there.
Yeah.
Weasel's hilarious. Nathan Fillion playing TDK.
Oh my god! And then you're like, what does he do? And then his arms just float away.
Detachable boy.
And he's not even like, they don't do anything good. They're like tapping people's hats.
That scene.
The detachable kid. That's what TDK stands for. I just figured it out.
That scene wasn't even like gory, but it just made me so uncomfortable.
Oh my god! Yeah, and they're shooting his arms, and he's like, ah!
And I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I love it. It was really
You're
uncomfortable.
laughing, but he's in pain.
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah.
It was funny.
They're all dying in
I
gruesome
love that.
ways.
I love the title sequence when it's showing all like their bodies, and it's kind of like got the text. And I think they did a really good job with the graphics too. Like even where it's like 5 weeks earlier, and it's like the sticks on the ground that
you
come
like
back.
that?
I thought it was cool.
I thought the graphics were cool. I, however, hated the time jumps they did, because the
Like where it
person who I
jumps
went to
back?
the movie with was like, I
Okay.
was like, no, see that.
It was a flash forward.
No!
The Rat King.
For the audio people, the rat fell off the mic.
Yeah,
It's a mouse. I couldn't find
Your
a
Rat
rat
Catcher
puppet.
3.
they're the same. Mice are small.
First off, that's Ratus.
Racist.
Second off, they're not.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Rats are
Okay.
cute, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I felt like those. I feel like there was. So one word I would use to describe this movie at some points is cringe. Another word is extra.
I believe extra.
And I feel like there are
Those are,
definitely...
like, the same.
What?
No, they're different.
You
No.
literally earlier in this podcast said, I would define cringe as being extra.
They're connected concepts.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm
But
gonna step
extra
off.
is more like you're doing more than you have to. You're
Yeah.
doing the most.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Less
I
is
feel
more.
like it's got a negative connotation where I'm like, I would have liked this movie to have a bit more restraint.
Okay.
And I like a crazy romp, you know? Like,
Uh-oh.
What a crazy romp it is.
we're getting crazy on this thing. I like a wild romp where like lots of things are happening and things are chaotic and like let's go on a crazy adventure. For sure. But I feel like James Gunn, you could really, really tell that the studios just kind of have their hands off on this one. They're just like, James Gunn, you know, this is your comeback thing. Go for it, you know? And so there are definitely points where I was like, there's just too much. It's too much for me to pay attention to. Like, give me a second to kind of just sit with something sometimes. And those weird, like, there were a few points where I couldn't really tell what it was saying. So I was like leaning forward and I was like squinting to try and read
fair.
it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like some of it though, like when it's like the shot of Michael Rooker's body in the water, I think, and it says like Warner Brothers Out of the Blood.
That's fine.
I was like, that stuff's fun. And, but yeah.
Yeah.
That
But
was cool, and I think that sort of set for me. I was like, okay, so this is going to be a comic booky movie where they're doing like artsy fartsy things.
Well, honestly, this feels like the most comic booky movie I've seen in a while. Like I could really see this being like a series of comic books. Like that the fact that they fight a fucking giant starfish.
Right.
That like shoots mini starfish out of its armpit.
I do appreciate that they like addressed the fact that it's so comic booky by having the titles come up being like the Suicide Squad versus Starro the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And then the next frame is one of the military guys being like, what the actual fuck? Yeah. He gets crushed. Yeah. It's just like a giant starfish.
Yeah.
What?
I did not like the starfish's armpits.
It was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable.
It looked disgusting.
I totally
I mean-
agree with you that it's extra, but I guess for me, like the amount of extra was provided this like huge like beam of energy, and I was like kind of on a weird wavelength going everywhere, and it felt like it was capturing me at all these different ways, like both visually, story wise, character wise, and so like the extraness worked for me.
I think that I
and
think
like
I
there's a lot of jokes that don't quite land, but then like it's all moving so much, and there's like something else to just like sit in that I kind of moved past it really quick.
I think that I agree that like there are elements of the extraness that I really appreciate, like the fact that they went all the way and were just like, you know what, we're doing Starro. It's one of the weirdest. It's one of the weirdest comic adaptations we could bring into this. But you know, fuck it, we're gonna do it. It's weird.
Yeah.
He's shooting little tiny starfishes out of his armpits. I'm like, that's fine. You know, like that's super extra. But I'm talking more about kind of like the art direction, where it's like I felt like just too much was happening at any one point, and they were really trying to have every single line be a joke, unless, you know, it was one of these like slow down segments where we're like taking a break from the whole story just
Did
to
you
have
know-
an info dump about a character's backstory.
Did you know that the rat girl had a dad at one point?
Yeah, and it's Taika Waititi.
Did you know?
I needed to know that.
I
I
like,
needed to know that.
I think that it's really interesting to have multiple characters and have different backstories and motivations and character traits for all of them. That's a hallmark of a good story. But the way that they do it is so clumsy.
But
it's just
but
info
get
dumps.
this.
I feel
did you know if you're the dad character and there's another girl who happens to also have dad issues,
You're surrogate.
you're gonna like
You
them.
connect.
You're gonna
I don't
be
know if I disagree with that. I
besties.
like that scene when they're on the
I
bus
loved
talking.
it. It was very cute, but it was also very like, okay.
And like it's
Super
not like
obvious.
they spend like 15 minutes on her dad issues. It's like it's on her. It pans into a reflection, and then she tells the story in
Bam.
this reflection, and it's like 4 shots in a reflection, and you get it.
I just felt like it was
Mr.
like
Waititi does heroin and dies. The
Yeah.
end.
cliche. You know, it was like, all right, now come with me for a second as we go back in time to 1800s, blah, blah, not 1800s, but you know, it seemed kind of like a,
Also,
I like.
I guess they're from Portugal.
To me, I like the extraness of it because it made it feel less like typical. Because I think you're right. If it had been like, oh, like they're around a campfire and they're like, oh,
but then at the
why are
same-
you like this? Well, it's because of my dad, you know. And like she goes into it. I felt like because it was told visually very efficiently, I was able to be like, yeah, this is a story that I've seen told, but like I
Yeah.
like it. And the fact that like they cast Taika Waititi, like Taika Waititi is like one of the most in-demand people on the planet, and the fact that they spent the time and money to get
Yeah.
him for this like joke.
They did that with literally every single one of the famous people at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, but I love that.
It's just
it's
another
not-
one of the
It's not like
funny
that's not an
actors.
easy thing to do. Like that's a whole like production
You,
nightmare.
Taika Waititi's
you got
probably got
enough
a bit
money.
of time.
easy peasy.
He's
They put
working
that
on a
man on a
couple-
green screen, gave him a elastic band and a fake needle, and went,
Okay.
"Go wild,
You
kid."
try and get Taika Waititi.
He shot.
Yeah,
he shot
if
that
I had
stuff in a
millions
day.
of dollars and also the rights to Batman, I
Yeah.
probably could.
No, but okay. You guys are the worst.
I know. I'm
but
so sorry.
I
Okay, wait.
also what I like about this movie in particular, and this is like a meta element, is that James Gunn kind of has like been now the crossover for Marvel and DC, and the fact that so many Marvel actors and creative types are now kind of crossed over into DC. Like the VFX supervisor was a Marvel VFX supervisor. The composer
On
was
this movie?
Yeah.
Now
These are all
Marvel's just
people
gonna
that were
get bad.
No,
because
I don't
all
think
the
so.
people
They're
are gonna
getting
start
the wrong
working for
guys.
DCU.
But like Kevin Feige showed up on set and was like pumped and was like, "Hey man, like make the best movie you can and then come make Guardians of the Galaxy 3." And like to me I'm like, "Oh, it's cool." And like
They're like all supportive.
fans are always the one that created the division. Like these are all professionals that are like they're all friends and respect each other. But I
So
like
you
that
mean
idea.
a Marvel actor's allowed to go to DCU, even though we
Yeah.
don't like DCU?
But they're the other bad people.
But
But they are not our tribe. Enemy tribe from enemy village.
Yeah, they must suck. They suck.
No, I mean, I want to reiterate
Yeah.
that I think that the fact that DC is heading in this direction, but with like, hey, let's get this director who has made good stuff before and let's let him loose with a creative vision and with resources to make what he wants to make, or she or they or whatever.
Yeah.
Like do what you want to do, and that's cool, you know? I'm supportive of that, but I think that the end product in this particular instanced
Yeah.
is
It's extra.
I think what it's coming down to is like you might be somebody, David, who is more into kind of like extra stuff,
For
where
sure.
it's like, hey, the more kind of crazy stuff that's going on, not to a limit, to a reasonable limit, like the more you want more crazy stuff. And I'm kind of somebody who's a bit more of a fan of like a focused story, where it's like, you can tell that there was thought put into crafting a ride, an emotional
And
journey
unity
for
with,
people to
there's
go
not
on.
like a strong unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that there is something to be said for having a cast of characters and like spending a little bit of time to develop all of them. But that's really kind of a shotgun approach. And what I'm looking for is more of kind of like a deep singular approach where, you know, you develop other characters a little bit, but we're really focused on, like, if there was a bit, that's why one of my main criticism is Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Having that cool setup with his daughter, and we understand that there's that relationship and that tension, but then we completely forget about it for the rest of the movie until the very end when she's like, "That's my dad."
I think
well,
I think you're
because
diminishing
they bring back up halfway where
Well,
the
but then-
guy's like, I have a daughter too.
No, but
Right.
I
They
think
bring it
it's-
back at the beginning, middle, and the end.
I
the
think
You just
beginning,
don't
middle,
care
and
about that
end.
rat, do you?
I think that's a little bit diminishing because I think like his whole arc is about this like moving past selfishness into heroics.
Yes.
And the daughter stuff is just like the signpost. It's like beginning he's just like a total selfish guy who like has maybe good intentions but is totally incapable of being a good father.
Yeah.
And then through this journey, through these people that he's being rubbed up against, he learns to be a hero, and by the end he is a hero. He decides to to risk his life to stop the starfish.
yeah.
And so to me, it's not that they abandon it; it's that they're using them maybe these signposts too far apart.
Yeah, maybe. And like, I guess you could make the argument that midway, the backstory info dump of Ratcatcher kind of serves as a point for Bloodsport as well, to
Yep.
kind of be like, hey, this lady has daddy issues. I'm going to be a support to her or something. And that kind of like gets him into the mindset to be like, maybe I can be a father.
And
Maybe I
then-
can be a leader.
Yeah, because they've all been so cold to each other up to that point.
Then he shoots Peacekeeper.
Through the bullet.
Bam! Right in the head.
Smaller bullet, bitch.
That was pretty. Did he say bitch?
No,
Oh,
I had bitched everything.
Someone just
Smaller
ad-lib.
bullets.
Smaller bullets.
I like how he just has his regular Idris Elba British voice.
But he's more British than usual because he's British, but he's like lower class British accent.
I think that's pretty. I mean, maybe he was doing a bit more
Maybe.
lower class, but I think it's pretty close to his normal accent.
My one nitpick about the movie is I found it hard to like. Maybe it's just this is a symptom of too many characters, but I'm like, what are their powers? And I had to.
What are the Thinker's powers?
He's just smart, I
Oh,
guess.
he's just super
But
smart.
Why does his head look like that?
Because his geneticist, he's modified his head, augmented his head, I guess.
He's got like electricity.
They didn't. They were like, he can control the starfish.
He
with his
sucks.
mind."
Yeah, the finger is
and
definitely.
then the starfish breaks free, and suddenly he can't anymore, even though he still has all the stupid ass LED test tubes stuck in his brain.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't think he can ever. He could never. I don't think that. Did they say he could control the starfish?
He said he's the only one who could like keep it in control. Like that
but
was
I think
the
it's
only
because
reason he could be around.
I think it's because like he set up these certain conditions to keep it docile or whatever, but then the facility gets destroyed and like the protections fail. This is all kind of like assuming that this happens because like the stuff on his head I think is just to like make him smarter.
Yeah.
If he is so smart, why did he get caught in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's lame. I definitely
Plot
don't.
hole,
I don't
plot
think
hole.
If
he's
he's so smart,
particularly
how did he not
interesting.
escape?
How does he fit a shirt on his head?
He pulls it up from the bottom.
Everything's
Got a zipper up the
addressed.
side.
Yeah.
Like a baby shirt.
Yeah, I mean, he is a throwaway villain. I think he was presented to be like the big bad, but it's not really
The big
about
bad was
him.
Lord Starfish.
Well, it's the selfishness within each of the heroes is the villain,
Lord Starfish.
and it's their inability to work together is the obstacle they have to overcome.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Did you
so,
know starfish is the slang for butthole?
I thought that was kind of funny.
No, David.
I thought that was
No.
funny.
No, please.
That early thing was, I mean, it felt kind of out of character for Peacemaker's
No, it didn't.
character.
No, Peacemaker's like, he's trying to be. Peacemaker is the kid in school who's like, I'm gonna remind the teacher that we had homework due today.
Yeah.
So
I
he's
guess
trying to
so.
suck up and be like, do you think that this has anything? It's
Yeah.
a giant leap and it totally makes no sense. But he's like, see, but if I ask a question, it proves that I'm invested and was paying attention.
I like
that's a good point.
because like they each kind of have one line and it gives you a little bit of their character. Like
Yeah.
it just helps me like
Peacemaker's
what the fuck?
I'm a
like,
dumbass.
What, yeah, he's like, are these people fucking psycho? And like Polkabottom's like, I know I am.
Yeah. I do like how Peacemaker, Peacekeeper?
Peacemaker, because it's an active verb.
Peacemaker, yeah. I do feel like he was kind of an interesting, like, lawful evil type of guy, where he's like,
yeah.
He's not even lawful evil.
Well, because
he's
he
like
wants,
lawful
he's
neutral.
like, liberty.
No,
I'll do
he's
anything.
lawful evil. He's literally like, I will fucking murder a village. I will kill your family if it means that I can keep peace. Even if
It's
the
not even
peace,
peace, it's like
even
liberty.
if the peace
Liberty, yeah.
is morally incorrect
Yeah,
to
the
keep.
fucking.
What do
this
you
is a
guys
sick
think?
line.
What do you guys think about the fact that they murdered like the whole camp and then get to the end and they find
I
flag?
thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
I loved it because it was like pretty badass the way they
It
kill
was
everybody.
a twist. I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
it, but also I absolutely hated the way that the lady reacted, where she was like, she didn't even cry. She was
Yeah.
like, that was her entire family. That was the people. That was her
Yeah.
army of like the individuals who were trying to free their people, and she wasn't even like, oh my god, you killed everyone. She
Yeah.
was like, I guess we still have the same goal, so whatever.
It's like, you
Nah.
idiots! What?
Yeah.
Come on!
That's fair. Yeah. I like.
Mamma mia.
I like that. I like that scene where they're like, why didn't anybody tell me you were coming? And they're like, and then it does the hard cut to all the dead bodies and her there. But you're right, the reaction isn't strong enough. It's
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
it's a cut for comedy. It's not a cut for effect.
Yeah, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, that's
cool.
fair.
So this movie wants to be deep, where it's like this girl had a dad who she was so connected to, and the rats kept them warm at night, and he died from overdose on heroin. And then it's also like this entire army of people who are trying to make peace for their country and free their people are slaughtered, and the reaction you get is, guys,
See, this-
that wasn't very nice.
That
of you."
doesn't bother me.
I think
though.
this is something
Yeah.
that comes when people try to adapt like edgy comics into film. A lot of the times the tone is really hard to get. Like Watchmen kind of does this, where Watchmen has like these deep characters with deep flaws, and we know about their histories, and we know about trauma that they've experienced, and like they have deep flaws. And at the same time, while we're going into this like deep sentimental emotional stuff,
There's the blue man with his dick out.
all of a sudden, blue dick, full panel.
My favorite
And
part
you're
of
like,
the
what do I do with this?
Yeah.
I don't understand why this is here, but okay, I guess I have to work with it.
What I was going to say is they also have sequences where huge amounts of people just get brutally murdered.
Yeah.
And it's like, life is tough. The universe is chaotic. We're going to show you somebody's head exploding in front of your face. And at the same time, we're going to go deep into these like character things. It's not just about like gruesome horror in your face. So that tone comes across better in comics a lot of the time
Yeah, I
because
think
you
that's
can
fair.
kind of map onto it what you want to.
Yep.
But in a movie, there's choices about how long you linger on a character and what the actor's performance and the music that is accompanying that scene. And I feel like a lot of the time, in this instance, I feel like they kind of fail to get the right tone to.
I think that's fair. And I
hit
think,
that.
like I said, to me, this feels really comic booky. And I think I can read that as good or bad. And I think the whole movie comes across as scrappy in a fun way, but it's also can be, again, it's just like a preference where it's like you could see the kind of disjointedness as bad. But to me, it felt like really earnest in a weird way. Like I can see the filmmaker behind this, like, just like, we're going to fucking do it. We're going to fucking do it.
Do you have two scenes you don't know how to connect together? You have one scene and another simple. Just make someone explode. Just kill someone
I
randomly.
don't think it's that easy.
But
Yeah,
it
it's
literally
not
is.
bad, but
They're like, the beginning of this movie is literally, okay, someone explodes, jump, cut to the other side of the island. That's
No, I don't think so.
well, what are you talking about? The
Also,
opening
why
scene?
did Harley Quinn get put on the team that was supposed to fail?
I don't think they were supposed to fail.
So they were the ones that got sent in first as the distraction.
No, but they weren't sent as the distraction. Like they
You just sent two teams in and being
Yeah.
like,
No,
hopefully one is a
because then-
distraction.
no, because it's Pete
No.
Davidson sold them out.
Oh, he did.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
mind. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, no, Waller
like,
did this
I
on
was your
purpose because I hate
contact.
her.
Yeah.
What's that, sir?
I was just gonna blame Waller because I don't like her.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
there might have been an element of that, but I don't think they were supposed to get massacred quite that way. But let's talk about Harley Quinn.
Yes,
Okay.
please. She's my favorite.
She's definitely like the best thing to come out of the DCEU. Margot Robbie
sure.
and Harley Quinn, that character is just like, that's born to play that role.
Which
And
is
she's
why
she's a
they-
really talented actor and she can play other roles really, really well. But like,
Right.
there's something there that's just so special.
Which is why they've chosen to milk her as a franchise,
Yeah.
like Birds of Prey.
And like, she's the only character they really carried
Birds of
forward.
Prey was a good movie.
It was all right.
No, I'm saying
alright.
that like she's one of the only good things to come out. So they're like,
Oh.
people like Harley Quinn, people like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. So let's do Birds of Prey. Let's bring back Suicide Squad.
when you look at like basically as James Gunn got hired, the executives were like, you can do whatever you want, but it'd be really cool if you brought back Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. And he's
we're
like,
gonna put her into the
She's gonna be
Justice
on the
League?
one
Yeah.
team.
Justice League
Snyder Cut?
Snyder Cut.
Was she in it? I don't even remember.
Just at the very end.
You guys watched
Oh, yeah.
What? You didn't see it?
it? No.
What do you
I'm
mean?
out
Did I
here
see it?
being like, I've never seen Batman. I've never seen
You've never seen
Superman.
any Batmans?
Nope. I don't give a fuck about Batman.
You should
Whoa.
watch like the Nolan trilogy or
I
something.
care about Flash.
Wait,
I
wait,
care
wait,
about
wait.
Supergirl. I care about Harley Quinn.
Wait a second. You haven't seen any of the
No.
Christopher Nolan Batman,
No.
the
Why
Dark
would
Knight trilogy?
They're literally impossible for me to see with my eyes. I look at them and I'm like, cool, that's a black smudge on the. Oh my god, is that thing? That's Batman. Okay, the thing that's moving is Batman. Okay, cool. Wait, where are we? We're in an alleyway again. Okay.
Madison.
Oh, he's jumping off a roof again. I love when he does that.
You can't. You
I love when he
cannot.
throws the batarangs. He's like,
Batman.
"Whoop."
You're talking about Batman right now.
Yeah.
This is like Jesus to us. No. The
We
original
need to
trilogy.
find a new religion.
The Dark Knight trilogy is good.
Yeah.
It you got to see Batman Begins at the very least.
Ooh.
Oh,
Give
come on.
it a try. Just because you don't know a character doesn't mean you don't.
I know Batman. He
apparently
doesn't
not.
kill people.
Sometimes he does.
If you were
Well, see, now I don't fucking know Batman. That was the one thing I knew, and now
Yeah,
it's
so now
ruined.
you gotta
No.
watch a movie
No,
and-
now I'm just mad because that was the one thing
if
I
you
knew.
had seen so like this the DCEU
If you had seen these 17 movies before this
No, you
movie,
just have to watch
you
the
would have
movie.
liked it.
No. So the DCEU is completely separate from the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight trilogy happened, and then DC was like, "Oh, people
So why
like
would I want to watch it if it's not even connected to anything?
because it's actually good."
Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes
but
good
it's not
movies don't.
connected to anything, and it's literally just Batman. I
Oh
don't
my
care
god,
about
this is
Batman.
the most like Gen Z thing I've ever heard. If it's
Yeah.
not part of a
This is-
huge universe,
No,
I don't want to
Listen,
watch
I
it.
like indie films.
I didn't know we
I
were gonna
love
go
things
here.
that aren't part of huge universes. I just don't care about Batman.
That's fine.
The movies are literally so dark. They aren't appealing to me
But
to
you-
look at.
you-
It's like,
you
cool,
haven't
if I
watched
wanted
them.
to watch
Okay,
a
wait.
black and white film, I'd go watch Charlie Chaplin.
Not
Yeah,
liking,
go watch
so,
Charlie Chaplin
so
too.
not liking Batman is a perfectly valid reason to not be inherently interested in seeing the movie.
Sure.
But the cool thing about Batman Begins is that it took Batman, which was like this campy, silly, cheesy thing earlier, and was like, "Hey, we're gonna make it actually a good movie, completely regardless of whether you are familiar with Batman or know anything about Batman at all." Batman Begins. He's only Batman for like the last quarter of the movie.
But
The whole movie is
Batman.
not about Batman.
But we're only going to do it in basically black and white.
That's
because
not
it's
true.
so dark.
You
Not
just don't know
true.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Madison.
Okay,
Audience,
fine.
we also, but audience we don't need like a million comments being, I can't believe Madison don't watch Batman.
Yeah, I was
Don't-
gonna say.
We don't give us those two. We
I was
don't.
gonna say.
yeah.
If
She's
you
valid
leave
in
those
her opinion
comments,
about.
I will probably see them and be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Do it for us. Do it for us.
Do it for us,
No.
man.
Please. One Batman movie.
No.
Watch the first
I
quarter.
tried to watch like The Dark Knight Rises or something.
Ew, that's the bad one.
How was I supposed to know? There's like 17 of them.
There's literally 3. It's a trilogy, girl.
Okay.
Wait, you literally just told me
This
to
is-
watch all of them, and then you're like, that's the bad one. Why would I watch them if you're literally admitting one of them is bad?
Okay, we didn't mean to go on this big tangent.
Sorry, I like Margot Robbie because Harley Quinn is cool. However,
Yeah, we're back on Harley Quinn.
However, in one scene, she literally jumps a fucking story.
Oh,
She
you
jumps
mean at the end?
Yeah, she like jumps up, and I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, wait, are they gonna like go into the comic books of how like Poison Ivy like gave her enhanced abilities at one point, and now
Whoa.
she's like immune to toxins?
Wow, you're getting into the Harley Quinn lore here. I didn't even know
only
about this.
care about Harley Quinn. She's the only character that I'm like emotionally invested in at all.
She did have like the javelin, which appears to kind of like confer some sort of magical thing, maybe.
Yeah, and like I thought that was supposed to be like a relation to comic books. Listen, I saw Suicide Squad, and I think what happened was the Suicide Squad. I think what happened is TikTok stole my data and started recommending me all these videos that are like deep dive into the Suicide Squad, deep dive into the backstory of Harley Quinn, and
Yeah.
I was
You were into it?
invested
You were
because I
living?
knew I was gonna be on this podcast. So I was like, I
gotta.
better bring something to the
Yeah,
table
fair.
because I've never fucking seen Batman.
Well, yeah,
Well, Batman has nothing to do with this movie.
we're gonna ban Batman from this
Oh,
podcast.
okay, no more
Good.
Batman.
I love that this to me felt like the first movie Harley Quinn has like there is no Joker shadow. It's just that's Harley Quinn. There is like who fucking gives a shit about Joker?
Oh my god, they removed so like her thing used to say property of Joker, and
Yep.
in this movie it says property of no one, and I was like,
Fuck yeah.
fuck
Oh,
yeah. And then
nice.
also there was like one other tattoo that was like weird
Yep.
that just completely is gone now.
Oh, damaged.
Damaged, I
No,
think.
that's the Joker one.
I wrote it down
yeah.
in my notes.
It's one of those whatever.
Yeah.
I like. Yeah, it's funny when the first the Suicide Squad that's gonna get wiped out is introduced, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, but then she's introduced. I like almost had a sitcom like, yeah, clapping. I was like, yeah, Harley Quinn.
It's a Kramer boat busting
Yeah.
into the
Bum,
apartment.
ba-dum, bum, bum.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's just. I think they do a really good job with her, where she's so unpredictable all the time, but it's so consistent in how she behaves. Like when she shoots the general after having sex with him, I'm like, yep, that's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm so sorry. Rest in peace, that monster between your legs.
So-
I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
He has a massive
Yeah.
DC's
That's the
going there
joke.
now. They're not
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like that whole aside with her and the president, just felt really. I don't know. I was just kind of like, what are we doing here?
It's
like,
It was supposed to solidify like, hey, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey happened. Harley Quinn
Yeah.
is now a changed person, and she's like,
oh, see, I didn't see Birds
Mr.
of
J,
Prey.
if I see anyone doing bad thoughts, bad things, I'm gonna fucking kill them.
That's pretty good.
They burn.
Right.
That was pretty good. They do kill too many birds in this movie. When they set that
The voice actor stuff was
aviary.
okay. It was pretty
yeah,
good.
that was pretty good. That when they said that aviary and fire, I was like, that was unnecessary.
I know.
I
was fucking
legitimately had to
unnecessary.
plug my ears. I nearly cried at that.
Yeah, it was fine.
And that's not even just because I'm attached to birds. I was
Yep.
just like, this is such an unnecessary
Yeah.
show.
It felt forced to me. It felt like I
Why?
saw the screenwriter because the reason
No,
they
no,
do
no.
it.
I'm saying like, why did they do it?
The-
Why?
the
Like,
reason
there
they
was
just
no
hate
reason.
the general.
Yeah, so like killing animals is one of the most easy ways to
Yep.
get an audience to dislike a character. And so what they did is,
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's a
That's
dog.
Yeah.
Somebody
true.
will kick a dog or something, and that's how you
Yeah.
know.
To
they're
me,
bad.
when Michael Rooker's character, when Savant does it, it felt like it worked really well in that sequence where you're like he's presented to you as the main character, the eyes you're seeing this whole sequence from, and so like they get you to hate him, and then you're attached to him, and you're kind of like, I don't want to be attached to this motherfucker, and so it works for this dark tone, and then it comes back and the bird's eating him, but yeah, that time felt very screenwritery, like watch us make you hate this
I'm
person.
like, oh, this is the tone promise.
Yeah, I was not into that, but.
Yeah.
Back to Harley Quinn. That escape sequence when she escapes that thing, and like the other people are trying to like planning the rescue, and like the blood sport is doing that weird like sneaky walk across the road.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
got
I'm
me.
sorry. They literally look down an alleyway and go, "There's a taxi with 2 fucking people in it," and they didn't even notice. Like they're sneaking by the alleyway. They look down the alleyway to make sure no one's there. Harley Quinn is currently sitting
Well,
in the
she's in the
taxi.
back.
There's a taxi driver there still.
Yeah.
they're just like
No, I believe that.
no,
I believe that. But her actual escape sequence, I love the way that it's shot. I thought it was so dynamic, so fun. And like when she gets like angry and the flowers start appearing, like I just like felt something. And it could be.
It was exciting.
It was like border. Yeah, for sure. It was borderline. Like I could see that being cheesy and being like, ugh. But I was like, yeah, girl, fucking kill them all.
I will say that like
I love the javelin.
It was sick.
I bordered on feeling something when the flowers and stuff started appearing. I was kind of like, this is a cool stylistic choice, but I think I was seeing it more as like.
It also didn't really fit because it didn't happen like at any other point in the movie.
Yeah, it just
was
kind of
like
felt
here's
like
this one random scene where there's cartoon things appearing,
Right.
but it doesn't happen anywhere else. The only other thing that's even like comic booky is the title sequence where they're fighting Starro, and then the like weird things where it's like
the mid-title
it's like
sequences.
fire, but that's spelling out a title.
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
blood
yeah.
in the water spelling
I
out a
think
title.
it's because she's like, to me, what it was signaled was that she was drawing like deep from her well. And like that was like a really powerful moment for her where it's like, this is Harley Quinn and I'm fighting for my life.
I will say that like what I was going to say is
for her
that
life, she could have just jumped out a window.
I don't think so. I mean, like,
it's
It was
Harley
like
Quinn
a
though. She's
story
going
up.
crazy.
She could have jumped out a window and been fine.
She could have, but then we wouldn't have a really cool action sequence.
Yeah, but then she wouldn't have had to pull from her deep well.
yeah,
Well,
boo.
that's fine.
I want to watch her pull
That's
from her
fine.
deep well.
True.
There's a little bit of what do you call that? Showmanship that
Yeah, for sure.
that you want to see in a movie.
Yep.
And I will say that like that's probably my favorite part of the movie is her escaping
Yep.
from and going through like just fighting everybody.
Yeah, even like
I-
when she has the
I
door and she
love
gets the guy caught in the door and breaks it and then smashes it in his
there's a lot of-
face.
And she just keeps doing
Yeah,
it.
I was like, yeah, girl,
I love
fucking
the
kill
part
him.
where she's like, I'm asleep. I'm knocked out. And then it's just the scene of her going
yeah.
and like slowly opening her eyes.
Yeah, apparently
I was
Margot
like,
Robbie actually did the picking up the key with her toe and getting
Wow.
it up there.
Oh yeah, I
Wiki
saw
feet, wiki feet, wiki feet.
Is that a thing?
If I don't see Margot Robbie's toe on wiki feet,
What the heck
Is
is
what's
Wiki
Wiki
feet?
you can look up any famous person, and if their feet have appeared somewhere, it's on wiki.
I'm
feet.
good. I'm good. I'm not gonna look it up.
Margot
No,
Robbie's
thank you.
toes are.
I'm
on
sure
there.
they're.
the hell?
Yeah, she's a very beautiful
Also,
woman. I'm sure
I
there's
what's
love
lots.
wrong
how
with our
I love how
society.
that's something that they had to point out that she did. She actually picked up the keys with her feet.
That's
Wow,
hard. In one
that's an
take. In one
unusual
take.
thing
In one
to do.
take?
Yeah, it's like she actually like just did it. Like whoop.
Yeah, they only
Up.
filmed it once, and
No,
James
I'm
Gunn
sure-
was like,
yeah.
Oh wait, you mean
No, they
she like,
did.
picked it up?
Oh,
and she
what?
got-
They just filmed it once.
I
I
saw-
just assumed
and
that she was
wait,
able
and
to
she
do
picked
it.
it up and oh never mind. I forgot that she like unlocked a thing with her feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just picking it up would
No,
be
I
that
saw a little
impressive.
Yeah,
bit
that's
of an
why I was
interview
like-
with James Gunn where he was like, "Yeah, we were on set, and she just like picked it up with her feet and did it in
That's
one
so
go."
cool.
And I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
sweet."
I want Margot Robbie to beat the shit out of me.
Oh my god, yes.
I just want her to.
Let's be real, though.
If that is the
Stop.
only way I get to meet her, I would let her beat me up.
Okay,
Disrespect
She's
me.
so cool.
Disrespect me, Harley.
Okay,
Quinn.
well now I understand why what I said has
Step
a
on
weird
me, queen,
No, step on me with your key lock picking toes.
with your skillful toes.
Pick my nose with your feet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it was a great action scene.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yep.
it's just and it's
I
it's
loved
one of
when
those,
the general died. That was way different. That was way later in the movie. That was not
Oh, when he's got
never
the
mind.
starfish on his face?
yeah, wait, how did he die?
He got a starfish.
He's,
Yeah, but
he
then they all
literally-
stand up.
But no, but
yeah, but
it's
they're
a-
all dead.
but yeah,
they
we-
go over the
Oh,
earlier
right.
thing
Yeah.
where if you even try to remove the starfish, your face is just
Yeah, you're
Right,
you're
right,
already
Because, like,
dead once the starfish is on
tentacles
you.
go in your eyes and up your nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a little confused because they're trying to save the population, but then later Bloodsport like kills a bunch of the civilians who have starfishes
Yeah,
on their
because
face.
there's no way to remove
but I'm
them.
like, oh right, they're dead or whatever.
They're
Yeah.
like their brains get
Yeah.
slurped
What,
instantly.
what did you guys think of? Because like you mentioned it in the synopsis, but when Harley Quinn pierces the eye and is swimming through the eye
Gross.
and is kind of celestial looking.
Yeah, yeah.
And
got
I
her
thought it was
eyes
a really
open.
cool. Yeah. Oh god.
Every time a character has their eyes open, like swimming in
Yeah.
something that is not sanitary, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Ah!
I would have vomited. I don't
I
understand.
liked the shot.
I don't understand. And then she like crawls out of the eye.
Well, and then the rats come and start eating it, and you're like, oh.
I
Oh.
thought that this movie was gonna end with the rat girl, like being like, "I'm not just like my father's second in
I'm
command."
not just a
and-
rat girl.
Yeah, and she was gonna
I'm a
like,
squirrel girl.
No. I thought it was
and that's
gonna
how they
be.
introduced
I thought it
Squirrel
was-
Girl.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that's a Marvel character.
Squirrel Girl
but
is a Marvel character.
really?
I thought it was gonna be like she has a moment where she's like, "I'm not just like Ratcatcher 2," and she uses her stupid magic wand.
Her PS
and
Move controller for sure. This is what it looks
She
like.
uses her Wii remote with a strap on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And sorry, like one of the Wiimote connecting things.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought she was gonna like somehow change it to be able to control the little starfish. I thought that was how the movie
Well,
was gonna
I
end.
thought they were kind of pointing at that she was going to be able to control.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I thought it was
they
going
were
to be
doing that
something
too.
where it was like a twist where it's like she does something and can now control these little starfish.
I feel like
And
that'd
she
be too
controls
easy.
the population, and then the population rips the big
I
starfish
will say she was my
apart.
least favorite character of the main bunch.
Really?
Shark
she-
was my least favorite.
I like the shark. I felt
thought
that. I
thought the
enjoyed
shark
him.
was stupid,
I thought that
annoying, and boring.
Ratcatcher
was
and
stupid.
Shark's like a little friendship
I like that.
dynamic.
It wasn't boring.
Well, and
I
I
just-
I liked her more than I expected at the beginning because I was like, oh, well, I guess what is she? And they kind of present her a little bit like the witch in the previous one, where it's just like, oh, like mysterious, quiet person. But
it wasn't
they
a
do
mysterious,
give.
quiet person. It was lazy person who doesn't want to get out of bed.
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. That was a really weird,
Weird
introduction.
I
character
didn't
choice.
like it.
It was so weird.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was
get
like
it.
because she's
I think
supposed
it's-
to be like a young adult or a teenager. Or
Yeah.
She's a
something.
millennial.
And they were just like,
millennials.
they were just like, she doesn't want to get out of bed.
That was weird.
What a
It
dumbass.
did
was
really
It's like,
seem kind of
what?
forced, so they could have the millennials joke.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I was like,
Well,
wait.
it never comes back. It's never like
It never
her
does.
laziness.
Yeah, it
gets in-
does.
What? What do you mean?
In the forest, she's like, I have a deep sleep. So was that thing just to set up her getting eaten by a shark?
Oh yeah, when he's got her in her like almost
In her-
in,
in his
That
mouth
was a
and-
weird sequence too.
so for
Where she's like, he wouldn't eat me. Literally every single person in this camp is going, the shark tried to eat you. And she's like,
yeah, but
he wouldn't eat me.
honestly, that all played okay to
Okay.
me because, I didn't like. I mean, okay, and the way that she's set up and where she ends up is completely different. But I think that halfway through and starting around the shark almost eating her bit, she's more endearing to me because
Fair.
we understand more that she's sort of like, she's a bad guy or whatever. She's more like. She's a bad guy because her dad was a bad guy, I guess. He stole things, I guess. That was the big thing.
Yeah, she was poor.
But really, she's this sensitive, damaged person who is like looking for humanity in people where you would never expect it, like a giant shark.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And so it was like a cool little arc for her.
Yeah.
I really
to
like
go from like, you know, I'm by myself in this prison, don't know what I'm about, to like, oh, this is a family and we're like trying to make
That's
it work.
fair. I do really like where they take her. I think.
Yeah,
You're right.
but it's definitely confusing in the first bit. The
Yeah,
first
it's
like
like-
quarter with her is like, who are you? Why do we care?
Yeah. Apparently, this movie's a lot longer, and that maybe that some of those questions are answered. Apparently, like the Harley Quinn bit when she's with the president. Apparently, that's like way longer.
Yeah.
And they cut a whole bunch of it, and I'm glad they did because it already feels kind of like a
I
side
feel like
surgeon.
it had enough to
Over
sort of
2
explain what
hours.
happened.
Yeah.
Can we stop making
This movie
these,
was
like,
over 2 hours?
How long was this one?
It was
2:10?
2 hours and 10 minutes.
It didn't feel slow to me. Like there, maybe you could cut a few random things, like a few of the extra things, but
I think
I didn't
I-
feel like
there
I felt
were-
like it moved.
I feel like there were too many things that they had to like explain. They couldn't have cut anything. I wouldn't have understood.
That's
I
fair.
already didn't understand. I would not have understood more.
Fair.
I didn't feel bored, but I definitely like, because there was so much happening, I was just kind of like, okay, it's this thing and then another thing, and it was like, okay, so it's got me sort of like entertained, quote unquote, but it's not like the good type of entertained.
It was
it's
just
like it's like
overstimulating the
watching
entire
flashing
time.
lights and
Yeah,
you don't look away.
It is stimulating.
It's overstimulating.
I was like, oh, cool. Things are happening, and I'm not bored, but
Yeah.
also like,
I don't want to be
But here's
here
the
anymore.
difference.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. My ADD isn't medicated, so to me, I need the
oh,
stimulation.
I wasn't medicated when I saw
Oh,
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, where's Harley Quinn? I just like her.
She's
Go back to Harley
hot.
Quinn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We should go into hit picks and nitpicks now, I think, at this point. Because I have some.
My one nitpick is just like I didn't really get I already talked about it, like the powers, and I know they address it, but the fact that Peacemaker and Bloodsport have basically the same powers, but like Bloodsport I guess has like sci-fi-ness to his powers, but
Yeah,
they're just
well,
like good shots that are a bit stronger than normal people.
Yeah, he's got those like Lego guns.
Yeah, it's like they're cool, but it's like okay.
Yeah, it was really annoying to me that we spend so much time on Bloodsport, Rick Flag, and Peacemaker when they're all just like
Army dudes.
the same
Yeah.
male army dudes.
Are any of them like super serum enhanced or anything?
No,
or are they
I don't
just
think so.
No,
jacked?
they're just guys. And especially like we had a scene where
Where does he-
they all get captured and they're in the truck. And I'm like, I was so bored that whole time on the highway.
Oh,
and
yeah.
also, that was another bit. This is a nitpick with the music where it's like, okay, they got captured. They're in the armored car. Let's play this loud, crazy. It was kind of like a post rock thing going on. It was a loud song, obnoxious
Yeah.
song. And then we go inside the car and it's muted as if they're listening to it in the car. And I'm like, wait, what?
They would never be listening
These
to this.
guys on Corto Maltese are listening to this like grunge American music. And then they go into the cab and it's like, yeah, they are listening. I'm like, what?
Well,
it just takes away from the scene. It takes away from the drama so many times when it's just like.
Technically, they
like,
could
stop.
totally be listening to that music because they were the military people, and we learned that the military was actually like the Americans.
No. The military wasn't the Americans. The Americans were funding the research. That's different.
Totally sent. Okay.
The guys driving that
they
truck.
sent mixtapes too.
Yeah.
Here's
Here's your monthly stipend, but also here's the music.
Why
you
are
But
you
listen
also,
to.
you
German?
have to listen.
That's my
to,
American accent.
Okay.
because the Americans are actually being funded by
the
Russia.
Russians.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Conspiracy theory.
How do you guys feel? Like, give me another. Let's go finish hit picks and nitpicks.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to change my rating of the movie.
10 out of
no,
10.
to lower.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, I knew it.
Damn it.
Sorry.
That's fine. You do what you do. You.
No, 5.5.
I'm gonna raise mine to 8.5 to balance it out. No, 8. 8's an 8.
I'm
for me.
lowering mine to 0. You can't raise yours higher than that.
One nitpick that we kind of already touched on is that like I really like how we had sort of an arc and a character motivation and for Polka Dot Man, but the info dumps we already talked
Yeah,
about.
it's a fair
But
bit of info dumps.
The info dumps are just like
That's
especially
always
because
going to be an issue with these movies, though, because like there isn't a way to take 5 characters or more and be like, no one knows these characters. It's not Iron Man where you go into Avengers and you know
Okay, so
he's Iron Man.
the way you do it is instead of going into these like long flashbacks with like Ratcatcher, instead of panning over to the window and now we're going into a montage flashback thing, you just have her say, "My dad did this thing and he tried to care for us, but in the end he died or whatever."
Minimalist would
One
like
sentence. One sentence, and we get
Wow, the emotion I feel from that one sentence,
okay,
Riley.
I would spend some
I'm
time.
so connected.
A good writer can spend a little bit of time and make you care. Give us the details. We don't need to spend a lot of. This is a mistake I think a lot of
Come
writers
back to
make.
me in a week with one sentence that spells out that entire scene.
I'm not
and
going to
makes
do
me
it,
feel-
but people can do it.
Okay.
You can get a little bit of backstory from people and like looks between actors, performances, instead of relying on these overproduced,
Yeah.
long sequences.
Instead of being like an actual movie where they're like, let's have some really good scenes where it's like actors just acting. They were
Right.
like, we'll have some flashbacks where they spell everything out for you, and then
Yes.
we will show you someone getting shot in the fucking head.
Yeah.
Woo!
So the Polka Dot Man one wasn't too bad because it was
I don't
pretty short.
understand. So
But
his mom
it
is
did,
everywhere.
It really felt out of place.
Is his mom God? What is happening?
No,
No, I think he's just-
Her mom
he's-
is a scientist and
he's got-
fucked with his head.
Yeah, he's got
because-
issues.
Yeah.
So he is now like
Okay,
obsessed
no.
with his mom and
Sorry.
sees
I
her
thought
everywhere.
his mom like turned into an omnipotent being.
No,
Riley,
no.
I don't disagree with you. I think that they could be more efficient and more simple with some of their presentation. But I think in a movie like this, that like for better or for worse is really extra. Like to me, it fits. Like the
Yeah,
like
it
weird
does.
extra shit. Like it all. I'm there for it, and I'm like I want as much James Gunn as possible, and so I like it. But I think you're right. In like a maybe like quote unquote better movie, it would just be like tighter and like you could give a line or two.
You know where how I can see it working is if they differentiate these sequences where they start. It's like every time they have one of those weird title sequences that where like words are made out of branches or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Every time they have that, it's like a new comic book section or whatever, like or a new issue of a comic book. And if they did more of a separation between the segments,
Yeah, that's
maybe I
fair.
would like accept it a bit more and treat each section as sort of a self-contained story, like we saw in The Green Knight. The Green
Yeah.
Knight was like very distinctly set up into these 5 segments, and if they did that with this movie, I think I might accept that a little
I
bit
think
more.
that's fair. This movie is not streamlined. It's scrappy.
Yeah, it's very scrappy.
It's very scrappy. And it's for better or for worse.
Okay, Flag goes and just rips a hard drive out of the server. And it's like,
That
this
was-
is the data.
Weird.
It's literally, it's
dumb.
this big. I'm like, I just spat everywhere. I'm like, that happened, and I was like,
30 years of research.
I happen to work at a tech company.
Yeah.
That's not how that fucking works.
I can understand non-computer people being like, that's the
a hard drive.
Also, why
But he
is that
literally
hard
just-
drive literally? Okay, so if
It's
that's
just sitting
everything,
there.
why is it sitting outside, uncontained, absolutely like no security in this one room?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're just like,
And also, it's a whole
Oh.
server bank, and he gets one hard drive
Yeah.
out, and that's the data.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And they threw it around so many times. It's like the discs in that thing
It's
are
done.
shattered.
Yeah.
done.
I'm sorry, that was not an SSD. That was a disk drive. You're fucked.
Yeah, guys, it's a disk drive.
Waller, you don't even have to worry about that leverage. It's gone.
Yeah. Waller's like, oh, you have leverage? It was a hard drive, you idiot. And you dropped it multiple times.
What did just
It's
Peace? I wondered why Peacekeeper or Peacemaker didn't just destroy it. Like why he went after Joel, like instead of just like
Maybe
shooting
he
it.
needed the evidence. I don't know.
Because it's a movie.
Yeah, fair.
My other nitpick was like the rain and the cover. Like they're using it's sunny and it's raining at just that moment, and they're like, we're using this as cover. And so the soldiers are like, I can't see anything. I can't see a few feet in front of me because it's raining and sunny at the same time all of a sudden, real quick.
Yeah.
And then they just come out of nowhere as if it's dark.
Yeah, and no, that's not how that works.
It's like, that's not how that works.
It was quite literally instantly.
Yeah.
Someone just went flick.
There are like, and this is
it
this is one of these moments where I feel it really, really feels like the producers of this movie were like, this is a cool visual thing we can do, so let's find a way to work it in there.
Yeah,
but
fair.
it's just like it feels contrived.
The moments between like this being a lovey-dovey, I want a heartfelt moment movie to gore was like someone had their finger on a light switch and was going trying to figure out what it did.
Yeah.
That's
It was
just like-
such an
that's
odd-
just
if I
like-
keep flicking it, maybe it'll fix itself.
To me, that's just like that kind of movie of like that's like the rated R comedy movie where it's if you're in tune with what they're going for, it works and it's not distracting. But like I've definitely watched that kind of movie where it's like really gory but also has a heart. And I used to find them really disparate parts, and I had a hard time connecting them. But the more I watch that kind of movie, the more just like it connects and it works and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I like rated R superhero movies. Like I'd say on the whole, like there's
There
a
are
lot
like
of them that I
4 of
really
them.
like. No, there's more. Like Logan's awesome, Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad,
Often-
Kick-Ass, Deadpool, Watchmen,
Yeah,
There are
Blade
more than
2,
4.
like-
it's doable.
it's doable. And like I'm really bummed that this one isn't doing well in theaters. Like
It's not?
No, it's underperforming. Because of COVID, it was expected to not do super well, but it was expected to be like 30 to 40 million in the US. And it
Well,
did 26.
At least none of the actors are suing them because they
Yeah.
released
Released
it on
it
a
on
platform they weren't
HBO.
supposed to.
They
They
did
did
release it on
release it
HBO
on
Max simultaneously, but that was part of the deal, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that makes
they,
sense
they,
because
they
it
probably don't
started
have that
filming
bonus.
during COVID.
Yeah, and
I
they probably
think.
don't have the bonus structure. I think it's the bonus structure that differentiates it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did really well on some streaming service that had it. It's like other than Mortal Kombat, it's the most successful day and date streaming release.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
It was pretty popular, I guess.
I'm
But it sucks that the first one was such a piece of shit and did so well, whereas this one's like maybe you don't love it, but like it's better.
Yeah, it's better than the first one.
and
Yeah, but the first one people went to after they found out it was a piece of shit because they were like, I'm gonna make fun of this movie. And I want to go see how bad it is.
It
So
had
it was
some
like
hate
this
watching?
shock. It was it was hate watching.
that's
it was
fair.
a shock
I
value
hate
thing.
watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it
Yeah.
when it was in like a $2 movie theater.
I don't even know why or when I watched that, but I guess I did at some point.
Hate
Riley
watch,
just
yeah.
never actually did.
You just
He
want to
only
know
saw
what
the trailer.
happened.
I think
And
that was it. I
think
was
like
just
that,
curious.
That movie is absolute trash, but it's interesting to watch to try and like piece together how it was cobbled.
That was a point at which the DCEU wasn't 100% dead, but
Yep.
it was like, ooh, they're trying to turn it around. Hopefully they can. Oh, Suicide Squad, that's a little different. That's
Yeah.
not they're not like trying to bank on the Superman or Batman popularity.
Well, I've seen some really.
Maybe it's cool.
I saw a really great thing where it was like showing the different versions of the Suicide Squad logo throughout the trailers. And the first trailer was like brown and gray, and then like the next one there's like a pop of color, and the next one's like full color, and like they kept trying to like they figured out that's what people want is like the crazy color fun
Yeah.
movie, and then they
Harley
just
Quinn
rejiggered the whole the Harley Quinn stuff, and rejiggered the whole movie, put like that trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody on, and everyone's like, oh, maybe I do want to see this movie. But like the movie was like a dark, violent, like
Oh my
gritty
god,
movie, and they just
the original where they have the fight sequence where it's ballroom blitz.
yeah.
That's what I mean when I said I didn't like the music in this one. It's like nothing stuck out where
Yeah,
I was
if they-
like, that was such a good sequence, and the music really enhanced my watching of it. It really made me like want to go listen to just that song.
And I think that's probably a huge part of it. Like honestly, if the music was better in this, I might have liked it a lot more.
yeah,
fair.
Because Guardians uses this like iconic music, and from
Yeah.
the 70s, we've heard a lot of it.
Yep.
If they used Ballroom Blitz, if they used Bohemian Rhapsody in this one, I mean,
it would have fit better.
And I
Who knows?
obviously hate being like rely on old really popular songs to make your thing better, but it's like if they fit well and it legitimately just enhances my viewing experience of a fight sequence, it's like
Yeah.
maybe swap out your annoying heavy metal drums
Oh my gosh.
for literally anything else.
It's so
I
annoying.
would take mumble rap over this.
Ew. It's hard though.
I agree.
It's hard though, like, cause like you want to pick songs that are popular and people know, but you also want to pick songs that are like personal to you. And it's to me like a good indicator of like how it's
fuck
hard.
what's personal to you.
I do.
Madison,
I do care.
that's not very nice.
James Gunn, if you're watching this,
No, don't be mean.
Don't be.
I'm not gonna be mean to you because like I think you're cool.
James Gunn, come on the podcast.
Yeah, you should come on the podcast, and I will actually probably cry.
I like being the reasonable one. This is nice.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
like-
like I'm a hater
Listen,
often.
obviously, if you're a director, you're inputting your own like personal opinion into a thing. That's literally your job. And
Yeah.
if you're not doing that, you're probably not a good director.
Well,
but if the entire thing is literally just like, I chose this song because it spoke to me.
I don't think it's
like
quite
I
like
don't
that.
care if it spoke to you. If it doesn't fit
mean-
and it doesn't enhance my
Whoa,
viewing
wait,
It's like the Guardian. To me, I
That's
think
not
an
fair.
interesting
My
case study
viewing
is
experience
Guardians.
is all that matters.
Yeah.
To me, an interesting case study is the Guardians 1 soundtrack versus the Guardians 2 soundtrack. And I think the Guardians 1 soundtrack is more iconic. It's more tightly integrated into the plot, and it's more popular songs that everyone knows. But I think I like the second one more because it's like it's a little more thought out, and it's like kind of like it's just not as obvious. Like some of the songs in the first
a
one.
single song from the second one.
Well, yeah, because I know. It's fine.
There's definitely something to be said for using non-played out music,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what you're getting at. And but I think that like it's a double-edged sword where it's
For
like
sure.
you might want to
Bit of
steer
both.
away from like the well-trodden path,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that's gonna appeal to less people. And I think that it's a hard balance to walk with these kind of movies where it is designed for mass appeal, but at the same time, it's like James Gunn coming in here with complete creative control, being like, I'm just gonna put everything in this movie, absolutely everything.
And like, if I'm being honest, I mean, like having the Folsom Prison Blues is like that's like okay. If you Google like songs about prison, that's gonna be number one, and then it's like
That's
we're doing
it.
a sequence in prison, and it's like
That's another
Okay.
thing. A lot of movies will have like sequences where there'll be music in the background. I'll be like, oh, like I actually really like how this music fits with this, and I want to look this music up now. Not a single song in this movie. I was like, oh, I really like that song.
I think that's fair. I don't like particularly love the
which
soundtrack.
isn't really, like, the
it didn't
purpose
rub
of
me
a movie,
nearly
so.
as bad as it rubbed you guys, I guess.
No.
I think it was just like I was sitting there enjoying things, sort of, and then like this obnoxious music comes in. It's like, and I was just like,
Wait until your kid gets older.
yeah,
You're gonna have so much fun.
He's gonna be listening to some crazy. I don't even know what music's gonna be then.
It's literally just gonna be like beeping noises.
There is no
I'm
new
gonna be
music.
a cool dad. I'm gonna be like, wow, I love your music, son.
All new music
Let's go
is
to this
just
concert
based on
together.
something that already exists. There's no new genres anymore.
There's nothing new under the sun.
What?
Get to our age, and then you can say that, Madison. We've seen everything.
Yeah,
30 years old. That's
You-
all you need to see it all on the earth.
yeah.
That's depressing. Just like this movie.
And with that,
Wasn't depressing,
we're gonna end
but-
this episode.
Bye.
Yes. That was
How
fun.
do you end? How do you end?
Don't forget
well,
to come back next week
when
for
Free Guy.
that movie.
Yes, that movie.
Oh, I'm excited.
I love that
Oh.
movie.
I'm not
and-
gonna be here, but I love that movie too.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Subscribe. Do we say any of that?
Yeah.
We don't.
Hey guys.
If you guys want to email us, go
there you
to
go.
hello@carpoolcritics.ca,
guys have a whole-
hello@carpoolcritics.ca, or our Twitter @carpoolcritics, or just send us cash.
Hey guys.
Just straight money payments
straight money,
is accepted as well.
Make
Checks
sure you
made
hit
out
that
to cash.
subscribe button,
Yeah.
That's-
that
there's-
like button,
Mhm. All the-
mash them.
any button you see in front of you, usually just press
No,
it. It's a
not the
good
one that
idea.
has the thumb pointing down though.
I just erased my notes.
Don't press the button to go to WikiFeet.
Don't.
Or do.
Don't.
All right.
Do.
Good-
See you
goodbye.
later.
Love you.